Now you're a level even higher. Shine on, be the man. Right into the sun. Stay strong, you can make it if you know inside you have the answer. Shine on, time to play. Game on, nothing left in your brain. Very close to victory. The finish line for you and me. Never give up the path to your destiny.
Hey guys, Samurai here, and I'm here back with another episode of What If Pokemon Sword and Shield was a series. Champions Road, that's right, we're in Season 2, so without any further ado or wasting your time, let's get started. When we left off last time, the crew had just signed up for the Pokemon Unite tournament at the Pokemon Center. They met up with this interesting boy named Rinto, and along with Ash beating Kabu and having a tie with Lucas, and now the tournament is about to get underway. As the crew are making their way to the boat that will take them to Remoat Stadium where the tournament will be held, they meet the two professors studying the Eos energy that Unite battles generate, these being Professor Forrest and Professor Irby, who is a researcher assisting her. After bumping into them, this is when they run into Lucas, Bede, Marnie, and Hop. Lucas would most likely know who these two are, and he's fanboying out kind of, meeting two professors that are very prolific in the Pokemon world. They say it's no issue and give him an autograph. In fact, Lucas actually inquires about the Eos energy as he's read about it before. They explain that Eos energy is built through kinetic energy through Pokemon battles. They explain it's unlike anything they've seen before. It doesn't allow Pokemon to necessarily change their form, but it's a lot similar to Z moves where Pokemon can pull off these things called Unite moves. This is when a trainer of Pokemon's Eos energy respectively is put to the max and they can release a supercharged move in order to get the leg up on their opponents. Everybody who hears this is amazed, but the two professors do have to leave as they're doing a lot of organization right now, but they do wish all of them luck in the tournament. This is when the group would have a conversation. This is when Ash, Chase, and Elaine would reveal that they're all on one team. Their team is called Team Wild, of course. However, this is when Bede, Marnie, and Hop would also reveal that are on one team. When Chase asks why Bede would team up with Hop, he explains that Hop has a good amount of Pokemon that are good in situations, and he would be a valuable asset to have on a team. Their team is called Team Prodigy, of course. When they ask Lucas about his team, this is when he reveals that he's not on a team and that he really just plans to watch and study the unique battles here, as he's always wanted to see it in person. The group is fine with that, and while all of them are making their way towards the ship, Lucas is confronted by two mysterious strangers. These two mysterious strangers offer to be partners with Lucas. Lucas is completely fine with this. These strangers, of course, being Rinto and Peonia respectively. This team is called Team Rise. With all the teams set, it's about time to head to Remoat Stadium. This is when the group run into a Turtwig. This Turtwig is eager to battle anybody it can get its hands on, and it battles Chase. Chase sends out his Pikachu, of course, and Pikachu easily knocks out this Turtwig. However, Turtwig seems to escape, and this is when we see Irby again. Irby explains that that's a Turtwig that lives on Remote Island and it loves to watch the battles and always wants to challenge competitors to see if they have what it takes. He says it's become a real problem, but they don't really know what to do with him. He really hopes a trainer can catch it one day and give it the battles it wants. However, they make it to Remote Stadium. This is when Professor Forrest announces the annual Pokemon Unite tournament in order to join both Gym Challengers and their Pokemon together in a great competition. Everybody's truly excited along with the crowd, and this is when she reveals that the teams have now been chosen. She lists the teams as so: Team Wild consisting of Ash, Chase, and Elaine, Team Rise consisting of Rinto, Peonia, and Lucas, Team Prodigy being Bede, Marnie, and Hop, Team Alpha being Yue, Polaire, and Kent, Team Omega being Vega, Cher, and Dana, Team Delta being Isela, Wei, and Dune, Team Theta consisting of Pia, Corvin, and Phoebus, and Team Nebula consisting of 3 gym leaders being Milo, Nessa, and Kabu. Everybody's incredibly excited and sizing each other up. She announces the matchups as this. The first matchup is Team Wild versus Team Alpha. The secondary matchup will be Team Nebula versus Team Omega. The third matchup will be Team Delta versus Team Prodigy. and the fourth matchup will be Team Theta versus Team Rise. The first matchup starts with Team Wild against Team Alpha. This is Ash, Chase, and Elaine versus you, Polar, and Kent. Their battle starts out pretty easily. They quickly adopt to the Unite battle format. This is when they get explained the rules. The Unite battles function like this. Each trainer will take a lane to go on. There are 3 lanes. One trainer will take bottom, one trainer will take the top, and one trainer will take the middle. The whole point of winning a Unite battle is to knock out your opponent's Pokemon and then catch as many Pokemon as you can. They have special balls called the Eos balls that are specifically made to catch the Pokemon on this island. So, with all that being said, the battles get underway. Heads to the top lane and rushes in there. He catches 3 Pokemon very easily, using his experience to the best of his ability. He starts out the first match with his newly evolved Raboot. This is when Ash has to go toe-to-toe and face off against going off against the Snorlax, and Ash seems to be handling himself well. This is when we in the bottom lane with her Bulbasaur facing against a Cramorant. Cramorant and his flying type moves are offering a good challenge to it, however Bulbasaur is able to stay in the game. This is where we go to Chase, who's having a bit more issue in the center lane. The center lane has a lot more Pokemon attacking them, along with their competitor going straight for it. He's facing off against a Crustle with his Gossiflower. Gossiflower is trying its best, but it doesn't have a sturdy amount of defense in order to counter Crustle. It's barely landing hits as it is, not to mention Crustle is a bug type, so it's using those super effective moves to its advantage. This is when we see Chase getting knocked out. Chase getting knocked out first does depress him, but he still uses his ability to cheer on his other teammates. This is where Elaine is able to knock out Cramorant and able to catch some more Pokemon, putting the team ahead just by a bit. However, she's knocked out by Cramorant and Crustle teaming up on them. This is when it's all up to Ash, and Ash is fighting all 3 members along with fighting all the other Pokemon. This is when Ash and Raboot start getting not mad but very amped. They're noticing that they're getting very pumped, and then when Ash instructs Raboot to use another move like Ember, this is when Ember becomes a massive ball of fire and knocks out all the opponent's Pokemon. Ash has successfully pulled off the first Unite move in the series. Everybody's amazed by seeing a Unite move being used so early and so well. Team Wild is announced as the victors in a stunning victory on 3-on-1. While Chase is a bit disappointed that he couldn't do more to help his team, he promises to do more in the next round. Ash says it was no worries and that's what friends are for. Now we can move on to Team Nebula versus against Team Omega. Team Omega gives a valiant fight, as after all, these are gym leaders. They beat them before. They could clearly do it again, except for the fact that the gym leaders aren't restricted by their normal limits when doing the gym challenge. They go a lot harder and try a lot harder to beat the challengers here. Not to mention, they're not using the exact same Pokemon they did in the gym challenge. Nessa is using a Frogadier, which a lot of people didn't know she had. Milo's using an Ivysaur that is quite powerful, and Kabu's using a Talonflame. They clearly show why they're gym leaders and why they're given this position, and quickly knock out Team Omega. Ash and company are very surprised to see how strong the gym leaders are when they're not holding back, but this only gets them more excited. Next up, we have Team Prodigy against Team Delta. Team Prodigy is having a lot of trouble here, as they don't really have good team chemistry and they're trying to work together instead of splitting up. This is when Bede results in trying to do the same thing Ash did. He's trying to build up the energy between him and his Pokemon, and that's clearly not working out. However, Marnie's able to get the team to work together, and they are able to proceed to the next round. Now we can finally move on to Team Theta versus Team Rise. Team Rise kinda destroys Team Theta. Lucas using his amazing book smarts along with Rinto's expert leadership and Peonia's brute force and her Pokemon make for a terrifying trio. This team absolutely destroys their competition. They didn't even have to use a Unite move or be put on the ropes. In fact, they didn't even catch a single Pokemon, they just knocked out all 3 of their opponents. Every team is quite amazed by this, including even Team Nebula, a team full of gym leaders. But now we have to go to the secondary rounds. First up, we have Team Wild versus Team Nebula, and this is between Ash, Chase, and Elaine against Milo, Kabu, and Nessa. The battle is incredibly fun to see and dynamic. This is where we see Elaine go up against Nessa in a full-powered battle. We see Ash going up against Kabu again, and Chase going up against Milo again. This time Chase wants to do a lot better. Chase is using his Pikachu this time, Ash is sticking with his Raboot, and Elaine went with her Eevee. Eevee is trying its best against Frogadier, but Frogadier's quick movements along with double team really make it an issue. Along with Frogadier having to move Smoke Screen just spells up a whole trouble for Eevee and Frogadier. However, she is able to pull through and able to get the victory along with catch a lot more Pokemon here. This is where we go to Ash. Ash is having some definite trouble against Kabu again, but he remembers what Kabu said to him, and this is when him and Raboot have a really good battle with Talonflame, and their battle actually ends up in a tie, which means it's all down to Chase and if he can beat Milo. Chase's Pikachu is trying its best to beat Milo, and they do eventually come up with a strategy. They notice that Ivysaur likes to stay back and use its vines, so they aren't able to get a close shot in. However, once Ivysaur uses its vines to wrap around Pikachu, they shock Ivysaur and thus gaining them the win and the spot in the finals. Now we can move on to the second match, Team Prodigy vs Team Rise, and this is when Team Rise truly get to show off their colors. We see Rinto going up against Hop, and Hop just has no chance against Rinto. Rinto's expert knowledge along with using Ralt just absolutely destroy Hop and stop his chances of winning. Marnie does a bit better with Peonia, but she still can't compete with Peonia's brute force. Her Tyrant is a force to be reckoned with and just wails on Marnie's Pokemon. Last up is Bede, and Bede's going up against Lucas, and this is when Lucas just to truly show off why he's the same level as Ash. He completely defeats Bede without a second worry. In fact, fighting Lucas reminds him of fighting Ash. This is when this team loses, and everyone's just in awe as the same thing happened again. They didn't try to knock out anybody to try to catch any Pokemon. They just tried to knock out their opponent. It wasn't typical of any team to do this. This truly shows that this team isn't here to play around and they're here to win. And in the finals we have Team Wild against Team Rise. This battle is incredibly dynamic and incredibly ferocious on both sides. Ash using his trusty Pikachu, and Chase going with Gossiflower again, along with Elaine going with Charmander this time. The opposite team, Team Rise, this time we see one of Lucas's new Pokemon. We see him using a Dartrix this time, with Peonia going with... She uses a Gibble, and this is when Rinto reveals that he's using a Honedge. This battle is incredibly ferocious, as I said again. This is when Elaine finally gets to meet Peonia on the bottom line, and they truly get to see what they mean about brute force. Her Gibble is just hating Charmander and giving it not a chance to get up. But surprisingly, Peonia is very nice. She's just very competitive. Elaine could swear that she recognizes Peonia from somewhere but can't shake it off, and this is what clouds her judgment in battle. Their battle is close, but Charmander goes over its limit and ends up tying the match. This is Peonia's first tie in the tournament, and she's incredibly amazed by what Elaine can do. They actually become close friends and rivals because of this. Now we can switch over to the top lane, and Ash and Lucas are having the time of their lives in this battle. Pikachu and Dartrix are going head to head at full power. Dartrix, despite being a flying type, isn't really affected by Pikachu's electric type moves because of its expert dodging, along with Chase's knowledge of using moves to shield it and have damage. We can move on to the center lane, and this is when it's just kind of sad to see. This is when we see Rinto absolutely demolish Chase. Chase is having a really tough time here. Rinto has superior knowledge when it comes to Pokemon battling and technique. Chase is trying his best, but he can't seem to shake off Rinto. Gossiflower ends up losing against Honedge incredibly. And that was all up to Ash, as it was again. This time, it doesn't look too hot. Pikachu's trying its best, however, this is when Dartrix uses a Unite move. Pikachu's also able to use a Unite move here, but it's a lot weaker than Dartrix is, due to Dartrix not taking as much damage as Pikachu has during their battle. This is when Ash is revealed to lose against Dartrix and Lucas. This is when it's revealed that Team Rise is the champion of the Pokemon Unite tournament. While Ash is incredibly ecstatic that he got to fight Lucas again, and while he lost this time, he's definitely going to use some of Lucas's techniques when they battle again next time. Elaine left with a new rival and friend, however, Chase left with even more determination to become the best. He realizes that he has to fight Rinto, however, this is when they run into Rinto again, and Rinto basically tells them that he's really only interested in fighting Ash. Ash is the Alolan champion after all, and that's who he wants to surpass. He says that he also wants to surpass Lucas, as Lucas is way stronger than him also. This is when the group head back to Motostoke. But however, before they can, Gossiflower has something to say. Gossiflower really likes it on Remoat Stadium. It gets to train with other Gossiflower there, and it's overall a good environment. This is when Chase has to make a hard decision and decides to release Gossiflower. However, this is when the Turtwig, the same Turtwig that they met on the boat, decides to go with Chase, and Chase gets a new Pokemon out of this as well. And that's where we end the Pokemon Sword and Shield series video today. I'm going to come up with the next video at the end of the month, so hopefully you guys stick around for that. Sorry I've been gone for so long, and with all that being said, Samurai out.